First, may I thank this august body because you have renewed my faith in a government by the people and for the people. Thank you. I have lived in Stony Brook for 49 years in the same house. And for 49 years, the State University has had a housing problem. And I would like to say that where there is an administrative will, there is a financial way to construct adequate housing for students. Surely the powers that be have heard of tax-free dormitory construction bonds. The state and the university have dumped their problem on a fragile community subjected to unscrupulous real estate practices. The town until now has done little to contain this abuse. If I were Ms. Crossan, I would have been ashamed to come here and admit that with the registration of 25,000 students, they only have housing for 10,000, and they have somehow managed in the last 3 years to put together another 1,100 accommodations. I don't expect that in my lifetime, and perhaps in any of yours, we will see the university come to grips with this. This is not their priority. There are 8 unrelated students living in the house across the street from where I live. I live opposite the notorious methamphetamine lab. And each morning when I go out to retrieve my newspaper, I have to pick up the flotsam and jetsam from last night's festivities. Beer bottles and food wrappers and some things I wouldn't mention in mixed company. The cars are parked on the street, and the snow plows and the street sweepers don't have access to provide me with the service I am taxed for. Surely this house is being run as a business. It should be taxed as business property. They should be paying an electric rate for business property, and perhaps their water rate should be increased. Perhaps they should have private garbage collection, as a business is required to do here. If these enterprises were made unprofitable, the entrepreneurs would not be buying up dozens of properties to convert into rooming houses. The town has been enabling them to do this. Toxic chemicals were flushed down the toilet into the cesspool, which leaches into our groundwater. Where is the supervision? I have a booklet here which was given to me and my husband when we purchased our house in 1964 from Mr. Abraham Levitt. And there is a wonderful paragraph in here which says, "No single feature of a residential community contributes so much to its charm and beauty as well-kept lawns. Stabilization or increases in property values most often will be found in those neighborhoods where lawns are green carpets and trees and shrubbery produce an air of residential elegance. Where yards are neglected, the neighborhood becomes blighted and is shunned by the public."
Thank you, Ms. Feldstein. Your time is up.
I would just like to say one thing. A house is like a child. It needs love and constant care. And absentee landlords are creating slums around us, if we let them.
Thank you very much for your testimony. I know the hour is late and you waited long, but a light bulb went off in our town attorney's head based on your remarks, because you spoke of Mr. Levitt, who developed much of that area in the 60s and early 70s. There may be covenants on the homes that you mentioned that may give us the ability to go in there and move because they're in violation of the covenants. So we're going to be checking some of the addresses that we have. That's a laborious process to see if there's covenants and restrictions filed in the county clerk's office. And they'll still be there. We certainly can try to search them by, I think we may be able to search them by tax map number, although tax maps weren't created numbers till 1972, but we can certainly take a look at that. And if they were, we can move vigorously against them as well for violations of their covenants. And that would be, so your stay at this late hour was much fruitful. Thank you for your input. Jim?